She arrived to pick up the order. She was super sweet to me, and the transaction went off without a hitch. And after I rang her up, she asked to talk to the manager. She told us, "You know, this is my favorite restaurant, but the last time I was in here, I ordered some edamame. There were 2 girls closing that night, and they looked really busy and must have forgotten it. By the time I got home and realized the order was wrong, it was too late, and you guys were closed, and I didn't want to be a bother. Is there any way I could get some this time to fix the mistake?" I thought all of this was a kind consideration that we rarely saw from customers when the order was incorrect or missing something. My manager told her to call as soon as possible if her order wasn't to specifications so we could fix it, and he very nicely gave her a free order of edamame. Fast forward a month or so, I was working the same shift, and it was just myself and a shift lead again. Again, the night was going slow, and about the same time dinner rolled around, the phone rang. I picked up the phone, and it was Sandy again. She ordered fried rice and then continued to tell me about the moist pineapples. Being my usual friendly self, I let her finish the spiel about her wet fruits, and rang in her order. Soon afterwards, she came to pick it up. This time, the shift lead rang her up and gave her the order. As soon as the payment went through, Sandy asked the shift lead if she was the manager. The shift lead said that she was in charge that night, and she could answer any of her questions. So Sandy said, "You know, this is my favorite restaurant, but last time I was in here I ordered some edamame. There were 2 girls closing that night, and they looked really busy and must have forgotten it. By the time I got home and realized the order was wrong, it was too late, and you guys were closed, and I didn't want to be a bother."
Oh, I shouldn't have bought the bucket. I don't see the purpose of the peas lazuli. Alright, you can make some blocks out of it, I think. God, I will never mind that shit. That is so dumb. What a fucking useless block. Ooh, more of this shit. Thoroughly enjoyable. Holy shit, is this another cave for me to clear? Whatever. Holy fuck, that was very close to the lava. Not really, not at all, actually. Ooh, free block. Me like 8 of these. 1, 2, 3, 4. Holy shit. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I need a fucking bounce. Bow, bow. I don't think anyone doesn't like that song. Bow, bow. Maybe. Oh yeah, I could reinforce my house with obsidian. The diamond pickaxe. Make that thing right now, but I'm kind of indecisive. What's that? What does that sound? Whoa. Whoa. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. The moon, the moon, the moon, the moon. Bow, bow. Bow, bow. Bow, bow.
Is there any way I could get some for free this time to fix the mistake? She said it almost like she had this shit rehearsed to win a goddamn Oscar. At this point, my head perked up because there's nothing I hate more than having one over me like I'm stupid. Right before my shift lead rang up the edamame for free to give to Sandy, I interrupted and said, "Ma'am, I don't mean to be rude, but the last time you were in here you told us the exact same story, and my manager gave you some free edamame." Sandy instantly lost it on me. It was like I had denied her some crack or something. She started screaming at me for accusing her of stealing food, and demanded that I be fired immediately. She said that I had no right to speak to anyone that way, and I clearly wasn't fit to be working anywhere with that attitude. She then looked up at me and said, "Wait, I remember you. You were here that night when I came in, and that man was working, and you forgot my edamame. I remember because I watched you forget it." My manager asked me to leave the counter and gave this vile woman some free edamame. I was told that the owner would be hearing about my behavior and that it was likely I would receive some kind of disciplinary action. Of course, the next day this was all reported to the owner. I also realized it would be foolish to assume I would never see Sandy again. The very next day, in the middle of lunch rush, guess who comes in? Not wanting to deal with this bitch again, I scurried to the back. She walked up to the counter with a bag of food, slammed it on the counter, telling the manager that she was in here last night, and the staff was horribly rude to her and accused her of stealing. She started screaming that this is my favorite restaurant, but we got her order wrong, so she couldn't eat any of it because she had Crohn's disease. My manager apologized and then gave her an entire free meal with her precious edamame. She decided to eat the food in-house, and we went to get her a table. By then, the owner heard all of this commotion and came out of his office. He saw her across the dining room and asked me if that was the lady from last night. I said yes, and then I got ready to have an awkward talk with Sandy, where I thought I'd have to profusely apologize for calling her out. Instead, my boss walked over to her table and looked Sandy dead in the face and said, "I've been giving you free edamame for years, and you do not get to treat my staff like that when they call you out on your bullshit. Now get out of my restaurant. I never want to see you in here again." Sandy got up and huffed out of the restaurant almost in tears. My boss came back and said, "Man, I'm glad I never have to see this bitch again. You're a hero. Thanks for finally calling her out." My 16-year-old self was absolutely shocked at the turn of events. When Sandy's free fried rice with moist pineapple came out, with a side of edamame, in my own way of executing some cosmic justice for myself and knowing that I'd never have to see her again, I took the free food and I sucked down every last piece of moist pineapple and every one of Sandy's precious edamame. It was delicious, and we never saw Sandy again. I've been told many stories about my dad, but this is definitely my favorite one. When my father was young, he volunteered as a fireman, and the station he worked at had this habit of spraying new guys with a hose. It was a fun initiation tradition, completely harmless with no ill intent. However, my father saw an opportunity on a bright and sunny day, when he had finished getting ready and was called outside by the rest of the station, so he took it. My dad knew that he was one of the last new guys to get sprayed by the hose, and decided to be careful. Instead of running outside straight into what could be a hose, he looked out a nearby window, and sure enough, everyone in the station was out there watching the door. On the ground, he could make out a